Hey everyone. Thought I would do a little bit of a ASMR type reading because this textbook is difficult to understand as I'm reading it in my head. So just sit back and relax. I probably don't have enough water to read this entire chapter, but that's okay. I have some sounds. Because that's what you guys want, right? You want the tingles? Okay, let's just take a look here. Alright, so this is on culture. Just gonna skip ahead. Introduction to culture. What are the rules when you pass an adequate. What are the rules when you pass an acquaintance at school, work, or in a grocery store, or in the mall? Generally, we do not consider all of the I can't read. All of the intricacies of the rules of behavior. We may simply say hello and ask, "How was your weekend?" or some other trivial question meant to be a friendly greeting. Rarely do we physically embrace or even touch the individual. In fact, doing so may be viewed with scorn or distaste. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? You touching them, you creep? Such as people in the United States, we have fairly rigid rules about personal space. We sure fucking do. However, we all adhere to various rules and standards that are created and maintained in culture. These rules and expectations have meaning, and there are ways in which you may violate this nego sounds like I'm going to say the N word. Negotiation. 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 This uh, whatever. Consider what would happen if you stopped and informed everyone who said, "Hi, how are you?" exactly how you were doing that day and in detail. You would more than likely violate rules of culture and specifically greeting. I'm going to zoom in a bit here because this is perhaps. Perhaps in a different culture, the questions would be more literal and it may require a response. Or if you are having coffee with a good friend, perhaps the question warrants a more detailed response. These examples are all aspects of culture, which is shared beliefs, values, and practices that participants must learn. Sociologically, we examine in what situation and context certain behavior is expected, and in which situation perhaps it is not. These rules are created and enforced by people who interact with culture in everyday conversation. People rarely distinguish between the terms culture and society, but the terms have slightly different meanings, and the distinction is important to a sociologist. A society describes a group of people who share a community and a culture. By community, sociologists refer to a definable region as small as a neighborhood, Brooklyn, or the east side of town, as large as a country, Ethiopia, the United States, or Nepal, or somewhere in between. In the United States, this may include someone who identifies with Southern or Midwestern society. To clarify, a culture represents the beliefs and practices of a group, while society represents the people who share those beliefs and practices. Neither society nor culture could exist without the other. In this chapter, we examine the relationship between culture and society in greater detail and pay special attention to the elements and forces that shape culture, including diversity and cultural change. A final discussion touches on the different theoretical perspectives from which sociologists research culture. What is culture? Humans are social creatures, you don't say. Since the dawn of Homo sapiens, nearly 250,000 years ago, people have grouped together into communities in order to survive. Living together, people form common habits and behaviors, from specific methods of child rearing to preferred techniques for obtaining food. In modern day Paris, people shop daily at outdoor markets to pick up what they need for their evening meal, buying cheese, meat, and vegetables from different specialty stocks. In the United States, the majority of people shop once a week at supermarkets, filling large carts to the brim. How would a partisan perceive U.S. shopping behaviors that Americans take for granted? Almost every human behavior, from shopping to marriage to expressions of feelings, is learned. In the United States, people tend to view marriage as a choice between two people based on mutual feelings of love. In other nations and in other times, marriages have been arranged through an intricate process of interviews and negotiations between entire families, or in some other cases, through direct systems such as a mail order bride. To someone raised in New York City, the marriage customs of a family from Nigeria may seem strange or even wrong. Conversely, someone from a traditional Kolkata family may be perplexed with the idea of romantic love as the foundation for marriage and lifelong commitment. So, right here, I'm actually going to highlight this. That's good. In other words, the way in which people view marriage depends largely on what they've been taught. And just highlight that yellow. I like to do that. Can I do that, please? Yeah, I don't have permission to edit. Are you kidding me? I'd like to edit this document. It's kind of the whole point that I saved this as an edible PDF. Are you fucking kidding me? I can't actually edit this. Okay, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted, we're just going to keep reading. I'll go back and highlight stuff, whatever. Behavior based on learned customs is not a bad thing. Being familiar with unwritten rules helps people feel secure and normal. Most people want to live their daily lives confident that their behaviors will not be challenged or disrupted. But even as action is seemingly simple as commuting. Yeah, I can speak English, I swear. Commuting to work evidences a great deal of cultural propriety. Take the case of going to work on public transportation. Whether people are commuting in Dublin, Cairo, Mumbai, or San Francisco, many behaviors will be the same, but significant differences also arise between cultures. Typically, a passenger will find a marked bus stop or station, wait for the bus or train, pay an agent before or even boarding, and quietly take a seat if one is available. But when boarding a bus in Cairo, passengers might have to run because buses there often do not come to a full stop to take on patrons. Dublin bus riders would be expected to extend an arm to indicate that they want a bus to stop for them. And when boarding a commuter train in Mumbai, passengers must squeeze into overstuffed cars amid a lot of pushing and shoving on the crowded platforms. That kind of behavior would be considered the height of rudeness in the United States, but in Mumbai, it reflects the daily challenges of getting around on a train system that is taxed to capacity. In this example of communication, culture consists of thoughts, expectations about personal space, for example, intangible things, bus stops, trains, and seating capacity. Material culture refers to the object or belongings of a group of people. Metro passes and bus tokens are part of material culture, as are automobiles, stores, and the physical structures where people worship. Non material culture, in contrast, consists of ideas, attitudes, and beliefs of a society. Material and non material aspects of culture are linked, and physical objects often symbolize cultural. A metro pass is a material object, but it represents a form of non material culture, namely capitalism, and the acceptance of paying for transportation, clothing, hairstyles, and jewelry are part of material culture, but the appropriateness of wearing certain clothing for specific events reflects non material culture. A school building belongs to material culture, but the teaching methods and educational standards are part of education's non material culture. These material and non material aspects of culture can vary subtly from region to region. As people travel farther afield, moving from different regions to entirely different parts of the world, certain materials and non-material aspects of culture become dramatically unfamiliar. What happens when we encounter different cultures? As we interact with cultures other than our own, we become more aware of the differences and commonalities between other worlds and our own. Fuck. I'll just do more of this. That's what you want, right? That's ASMR, right? No, I think we're done here. I'm gonna read the rest of this chapter out loud, and that was it. That's all I gotta fucking say about that. Because I gotta actually open this up again so I can fucking edit it. And I feel like the ASMR element's just kind of distracting me, but not really, because I'm actually like, I have a lot to read. So I have a lot. Oh my god. I'm just scrolling down. Yeah, that's sickening amount. It's not sickening though, it's just this book. I don't know what I'm reading at some point. I really don't. It kind of loses me at spots, but that's it. That's the joy of sociology, right? I thought we were supposed to understand society. No, there's a lot, I guess, to this shit. Anyway, that's all I got. Goodbye.